I'm glad you did that, because now the story is crystal clear to me now, and I know exactly what all the parts we need to remove.
Gotcha. Okay.
Do you
Yeah.
understand what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm glad you did that, because honestly, because that is the core of the story that you're trying to tell, right? It's not about in the Asian family we're taught to be like, none of that shit is necessary. You know what I mean? Like none of the none of the
Yeah. Yeah. Those
this doesn't feel right in my, even that's unnecessary. The only thing that's necessary in this story is just one thing, right? Which is, to me, it's this: there's a difference between doing something, not knowing, like doing something thinking that this is what you want to do,
mm-hmm.
versus doing something knowing that this is not what you want to do, but doing it anyway. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
And that differentiator is really what you're trying to say, and that's exactly the reason why you were able to last 3.5 years in this sales job. You weren't in your business. You weren't an entrepreneur yet. It was still a job. You literally quit a job to go get another job.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I mean? But the only difference was that now you knew that that's not what you wanted to do.
Yeah.
You understand what I mean? That
Yeah.
was the difference. So that's the lesson that you're trying to teach. Like, you know, just because, like, if you're in a job, right, and you know for a fact that you don't want to do that, right,
Yeah.
doesn't mean you have to quit and get another job. But at least now you know what you need to do now, rather than just. Do you understand? There's a difference between you just sticking it out in that, because this is the difference, right? Okay. Now it's all coming to me. You know that the frog story, right? Which, by the way, is not is a myth, but like if you put a frog in cold water and you boil the water, like, and the temperature slowly rises up, at some point the frog doesn't recognize the difference, but at some point it's too hot that they can't even move their muscles, so they'll just die. Whereas if you throw a frog in the boiling water, it'll just pop out and you can't boil it, right? And that is the difference between you and your boss, right? Your boss is the frog that's been there for 7 years, just not even knowing that she's getting boiled. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're the one who just boop, popped out right away. Like, you recognize it early on somehow, but most people don't. That's why they need something like a COVID to come around and boom, like, shake them up or something like that, right? Or you need like a life event to come around and shake you, right?
Yeah.
But you recognize it early on, right?
Yeah.
But that's the lesson, I think. That's the real lesson, right? Like, instead of just being unhappy and saying, "Oh, I'm unhappy, but there's nothing I can do." But because you were in that place, you didn't have money, you couldn't start a business. But there's a difference between that and being unhappy. And I know I'm unhappy there. So you can still be in control. Get another job that's going to get you towards your future, whatever it is, like what you did, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can work a 9 to 5 job, but it can be different if you're doing it just like aimlessly,
Yeah.
versus it's something that's gonna get towards you. Like, I don't know how to exactly word that, but something like that, right?
Yeah.
Something like, just because you don't know what you want to do next doesn't mean you have to stick with what you're unhappy with. Something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. And we have to try to know if you're closer. It's like a process of elimination, right? So
Yeah.
want this.
Yeah.
Now let's try something a little closer.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah. Exactly.
find out.
Warmer. Yeah.
Until you get there.
No, I love that story. You know what? I'm glad you told the whole story so that we got there, so we understand the context and we got there. But yeah, see, this is a perfect example of a story that everyone tells the first version of the story. Oh, I was like, oh, one day at work, I was sitting there staring at my Excel spreadsheet, and is this it? Is there more? Is there more to life than this? So I walked into my bosses and quit, and I became an entrepreneur. That's the story that everyone tells. So boring, right?
Yeah.
But then here now we've dug into a specific part of the story that most people don't tell, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
it's more specific. It targets a more specific psychological problem, right? Like of the boiling frog thing, right?
Yeah.
And that's what makes the story interesting.